There. Hello, Richard.
Come out, wherever you are.
Someone told me something. Actually, an email told me something that someone typed in the email. So essentially, they told me, but through an email. This is the 50th time we've talked to each other like this. Did you know that?
No, I did not. So it's our 50th anniversary.
Anniversary's a stretch, but yeah, 50th meeting, if you would.
But, I just threw it out there and you didn't allow me to, you didn't take the bait. I said, come out, wherever you are.
What are we playing? Hide and seek?
Yes. What do you think? Could you guess?
No, enlighten me.
Najee Harris.
That's what I was going to talk about. Have you seen enough?
Yep.
Do you think he's back? Do you think he's back? Okay, one game
doesn't make a season,
right? And it's something to talk about for now. But does that give you hope moving forward?
It tells me that he's got the ability. Yeah, and I don't know if it was in his head. I don't know if it was on his foot. I don't know if it was physical, mental, whatever it was. Seems to have been awakened, and he ran like we thought he could.
Yeah, I agree with you. I want to see it 2 and 3 weeks in a row. I'm very, very positive. What struck me is how many times in this past game that he fell forward, that he didn't get knocked on his butt, that he pushed the pile. Like, we haven't seen that in 14 months.
Long time. It's been a long time. And, the commentary, if you heard, and I forget who called the game, but said that when they saw him on the field and they looked at him and he's like, who is this monster, basically? I mean, he's so big, right? And he certainly, that would give him the ability to power over people. His stiff arm is lethal. And that's the combination of his strength and his force. He can do it. I have a little leverage with Najee, though. I do. So, and I'm not going to concede, Najee, if you hear this. I'm not. And I know you want to buy my Brittany Blue Shelby Mustang. Can't do it. Give me 600-yard games in a row and we'll talk.
Oh, he wants the Brittany Blue Shelby Mustang, huh?
He does. He really does.
Well, who doesn't?
And he hates it because it's not for sale. I mean, it's a car that I'm keeping. So somebody said, but it's Najee Harris, the Steelers, you have to sell it to him. And I said, yeah, I love him, but no, can't do it. So I have a little leverage.
Wow, but you're willing to part with it, maybe?
No.
I
just want a little. It's coach speak.
Yeah. Okay. Just a little motivation. I settle for an F-150. I'm that kind of guy, which I like. But wow, I started thinking about something about Najee finally getting healthy, maybe, and then I wondered too, because I always dig into go down a different path or maybe look deeper into things. Najee showed up and he had kind of a gimpy foot at camp, and he still played in a preseason game, and he hurt it more in that preseason game. I seem to think that I don't want to lay fault, but if he hadn't really played in the preseason game, maybe this timeline would be happening a little bit earlier this year. Maybe they shouldn't have played him at all, any preseason snaps.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, that could be. Do you really think that, though? And if that was the case, why would they even play him?
I don't know. Well, Buffalo doesn't play any of their guys. Like, McDermott plays their guys very sparingly, and if they show the smallest sign of injury, they don't play. We saw, too, whenever there really wasn't preseason football during the pandemic, that guys could go through and do things and be ready to go. I think we're seeing the dwindling of importance in preseason games and just kind of get in shape, get ready to go. And maybe the first couple of weeks you might look rusty, but you'll at least be 100%. I just think it may have been a tactical error looking backwards because of how bad he was and how unhealthy he was the first 5 weeks of the season.
Don't you think we would have heard more about it?
Yeah. I mean, we saw he wasn't good.
He wasn't good, but I don't know. I mean, I hope that was the reason, because injuries heal. Speaking of injuries, I'm a little concerned about TJ.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. He absolutely positively hasn't looked himself since coming back from the injury. I have a theory on this,
Go ahead.
and tell me if you're willing to be okay with this. What if TJ? I don't think there's any what if. He's not 100%. But what if the proposition was, hey, you can get back out there at 80, 85%, which is what he looks to be. You can't hurt it any worse. And you'll have surgery in the offseason and heal up in time. And the timeline sets where you'll be fine at the beginning of next year. I would not be stunned if that's what's happening right now. That he's just getting out there. He can't hurt it any worse because it's a pectoral muscle. He's not going to tear it off. He's not going to rip. It's already hurt bad. Just get out there, give us what you got, get the surgery in the offseason because the timeline allows you to heal before next season.
It's plausible and probable. But even if he's at 85%, he's still at 100%. He still gives 100% of everything that's in the tank. So whatever it is what it is. And, it's a shame. I mean, isn't that the exact same injury his brother had?
Yeah, they do have, and it's because of how they train their body. I'm not a doctor or anything like that, but those guys are so muscular, so incredibly strong. Yeah. And you wonder if the bone and the tendons and things can hold all the muscle that they build because you see those guys and and I'm not equating anybody to an animal, but it's if you like walk behind a racehorse, you just see how incredibly how there's no wasted skin or muscle. And that's how the Watt brothers are built. They're just so compact and strong. And it's such it's like a race car compared to a regular car. One little thing can really throw it off. And that's when you're that muscular like that, I think that's what's happened with these guys a couple of times.
I mean, it certainly could be. I don't know enough about it to register an opinion. I have nothing but speculation.
Well, it was the same thing that happened to Aaron Smith. Aaron Smith would get those soft tissue injuries because Aaron Smith weighed 300 pounds. You stood next to him, you thought he weighed 240 because he had so much muscle.
Have you seen him lately?
Weighs 190 probably.
Yeah.
And took it all off. But that's the kind of player he was. And he had those same kind of injuries. Those guys that are very muscular generally have those injuries. But
let's talk about life after TJ.
Okay.
Because if TJ did get hurt, which I'm really worried about, I am really worried that he will make it worse. And maybe, like you said, the doctor said you can't make it worse. And maybe that's true. But I am worried that he does make it worse. Because just the Mike Tomlin quote always comes back to me. Mike, tell me about TJ Watt. TJ Watt, oh, he's from a different planet. I mean,
right.
That's who he is. And I love him and his contributions and his presence. I love all that, but I am worried about him. So what happens after him? What happens if we have to go to a backup? Who is his backup? I don't even remember.
Well, Highsmith has been playing a lot. So he's on the other side.
Yeah, he's on the other side.
It's tough. They generally, deploy a bunch of different looks and go with that. And they go then kind of safety heavy. You have people like Marcus Allen get into the football game. They bring Minka up into the box a little bit. They kind of work around instead of going with a traditional rush end, which is what's going to happen. You'll see a lot more with both Miles Jack and Devin Bush on the football field, which I don't mind. But what this does, I think the real story here is, as it was with Bud Dupree when he was here, does this force an atmosphere where you look at this and you say, okay, Alex Highsmith now probably deserves to be paid?
Yeah, but we should have never let Bud Dupree go.
A lot of people will say that. But then people will say Bud Dupree wasn't Bud Dupree until TJ Watt came along and made Bud Dupree what Bud Dupree is.
But Bud Dupree was Bud Dupree as we know him for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so regardless of how he got there, he got there. And he was, I can remember running into him at the airport in his rookie year and just having such high expectations for him. And yeah, he was a little, and maybe part of it's adjusting to the speed of the game, to the system. I mean, I don't know what it all entails, but I'll tell you, Bud Dupree showed up and he's still showing up.
Oh, you're right. You're right about that. So would you pay Highsmith?
I've just got to be honest with you. I haven't seen enough of Highsmith to say that. I read that he's playing well. I don't isolate on him though, so I don't really watch him. But I know what I read, and I know what the people and the pundits say, that he's having a player of the year season, and I see all that, but I haven't seen it personally. I TJ Watt's a difference maker, high profile.
But is he a difference maker because Alex Highsmith eats some people up on the other side too? That does
Maybe.
a guy like Alex Highsmith make TJ Watt all that much better?
And that may be very well true. That very well may be true. And then, you get to Devin Bush, who seems to be having a good year also, right?
Man, is this a discussion, Richard? Because have we advanced, and this is a question, it's not a statement. Is Devin Bush having a good year?
I know what you're going to say.
Up against what Devin Bush is supposed to have, or is he having a good year up against where he was drafted? Those are two different conversations.
Yeah, they are. And I think, you get caught in that trap. I think based on what we saw in Devin Bush last year and Devin Bush this year, he's having a good season because we lowered the bar. And I think that's what happened here. You're right. Good point.
Like if he had this season as a rookie, we'd all go, wow, this is a nice launch to a career, and let's see him build off of this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, let's talk about the bigger picture.
Let's go.
Colin. The bigger picture is the Steelers. Where are we?
5-7, 5 games left.
5-7 with 5 to go. So 5-7 with five to go. The prospects of a winning season loom larger than they did before. And I don't see us having a losing season. We have the ability, but okay, wait. I'm going to throw another one at you because this just kind of crept into my brain. Got to say these two words. Phil Jurkovec.
I love it. I think it's incredible. I think he's going to do much of the same things that Kenny Pickett did his senior year. I think that if he could do it all over again, he may have gone to Pitt straight out of the gate.
That's what my son said. Why didn't he go to Pitt right out of the gate? But there was a whole different dynamic then. Right now, Coach did a hell of a job recruiting him. And, then when his quarterback left, it opened the door. This is an audition. Phil's a pro. He was born to be a professional quarterback. I would take Phil Jurkovec as he is today over Kenny Pickett, 100%. Wouldn't even hesitate.
I saw him not long ago, and he's as big as Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, he's huge. He's 6'5", right?
He's 6'5", 240 some pounds. He's gigantic.
Yeah, he's huge. And he can throw the football the length of the field almost.
He just needs to get some blocking. He needs to stay healthy for a period of time, and he needs to build up his confidence by stringing together some games in which he doesn't feel like he has to run for his life. I still think he's going to end up a first-round pick.
I think he's going to end up a first-round pick, and if I would, honestly, the Steelers, I would continue to develop Kenny Pickett and, build his value, and then I would actually probably trade Kenny at some point if I could land Jurkovec.
Wow. Well, I've got to see Jurkovec have a good year. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, I love him. I love his family. I love everything about him. He's just a good guy. And, yeah. So his brother works for us, and you just can't find a finer family.
I agree with you.
They're just wonderful people. So I'm excited about it. But, Kenny Pickett, you go back to Kenny. There's sometimes I love him. And then sometimes those throws I don't get. And I don't know if they're timing routes or not communicating with the receivers. I don't know what they are, but some of them are just really big misses. What do you see there?
I see a lot. I also see a guy that I think if you gave him truth serum and you made him drink it and he was able to give you the truth, he would say he doesn't want to work with this offensive coordinator. I really do. Think, like stuff boiled with George Pickens the other day. He's on the sideline. He's yelling a little bit. Well, he was targeted 2 times. 2 times. When you're that dynamic, I think that Kenny Pickett wants to get the football to George Pickens a lot more, but the development of the plays and the design of the plays don't allow. And it's asinine to me. And
so asinine.
George Pickens is one of the most electric rookies in the National Football League. And
and he has no chance to win Rookie of the Year because he's not getting any throws.
right, but Kenny Pickett isn't in a position to be a squeaky wheel. He's not going to say anything negative against Matt Canada because he's still growing, and Kenny Pickett has gotten better the last 5 games. His quarterback rating has risen the last 5 games. He has not turned the football over the last 4 games. All the numbers are pointing up, but I think Kenny Pickett is making do with a terrible playbook. I mean,
he does. He definitely has I mean, I'm not a Matt Canada fan. Never have been. Never will be. Just not. And I think that the finger would point to. But look at our record. We're 3-1 since the break, and we're doing this and we're doing that and we're winning. Well, you barely won. You barely beat Atlanta, and you shouldn't have really. It's almost like what happens in the second half with this team.
Yeah, here's the other part too. What just happened against Atlanta, what happened against Indy, things like that. This is the ceiling with the Matt Canada offense. Like we're never going to wake up on a Monday and read the paper or go back to the game the day before and they scored 42 points. But they could. They could with someone else, but not with this coordinator. This is the ceiling, is just eking out a win, just barely winning, just biting your fingernails until the very end. Like that, he is using everything that he has and all his skill set and all his playbook, and they're scoring 19 points.
It's unbelievable to me. How do you score 19 points with that offense? And the way, I mean, I just don't know. It's like inconsistent. Is this works and then we go and we run a jet sweep and then we do. I mean, it's just, what are we doing?
Matt Canada is his sequence is just not there. You can count on at least Sims or an Olszewski very out of place jet sweep every single game that everybody in the world who's not named Matt Canada says it doesn't make sense in that situation. It's 2nd and 11 here. Just get 3 yards, 5 yards back. Don't run a jet sweep and lose 4 more. Why did you run that play? And sequentially, you can see it coming. It always happens. Every single game. It's just he doesn't understand time and place and just taking your medicine. And that's why I don't think he'll ever be a good offensive coordinator.
I mean, he's got the tools. He could be. I don't think he's a good offensive coordinator. But then again, this city, me included, have not been happy with an offensive coordinator in 10 years.
They're going to be 9-8 though, right?
I agree.
They're going to be 4-1 down the stretch.
I agree. I said that last week, didn't I? They were going to win out. And I believe that. And I don't know what 9-8 will do for them. I don't think it'll get them in the playoffs, but it depends. Lamar Jackson's hurt. So, I mean, I don't know. Cleveland's a force. I think Cleveland is a force.
They will not. You can bank this. I would book it right now. I would bet my whole mortgage. They will not lose that Raiders game here when they're celebrating the Immaculate Reception. They've got an uncanny way of winning all those kind of games. Ben's final game. They don't lose those kind of games. They just don't. It doesn't matter what their record is. Whenever there's a celebration event game at home, they never lose it. So that's what's going to happen. They'll win that game. I think they will split with the Ravens, and I think they will beat Carolina, and then comes down to the Cleveland game.
That Cleveland game is the one that worries me.
I agree with you a lot. There's not a lot of tape out on Deshaun Watson. He's very good, and you never know.
I hate to say that, by the way. I hate to say he's very good. It bothers me inside.
I've never rooted for a player to get hurt, and I didn't root for him to get hurt. But if he would have got hurt, I wouldn't have felt as bad as I feel when other guys get hurt.
I understand that, but you might as well just call it like it is. You wish you'd get hurt.
Yeah, it was general. I didn't know how I'd feel.
But he hurt so many people.
I didn't know how I'd feel in the run-up to watching that game. Then I honestly did, as it got closer and they showed him like signing autographs and things. I felt general disgust.
I can't believe that. I saw him doing the autograph signing, and I mean, I was people. What have you sold out? Sold your soul? You know, like the Al Pacino. These people have sacrificed their soul. My man sitting next to me here, George, he didn't do that. But really, that I agree with that. I do.
I so,
but Cleveland still worries me, regardless of any moral opinions here. But yeah, it does worry me because he is good.
The biggest news to come out of this podcast today is that Najee wants that Shelby. That's fantastic. I did not know that.
Najee wants the Shelby. Have you seen it? Have you been?
I have seen it. Yes.
It's beautiful.
It is. You know who's a big street rod kind of guy and a big car guy?
I don't.
Is Presley Harvin, the punter.
No way.
Huge. Although you've got to get him on your team. It's because I think he's like a Hellcat guy.
Oh, no.
Yes. Which is no good. It's just, you might as well just drive a Dodge Dart. But yeah.
A Dodge Dart, man. You're not that old. How do you know these things?
A Granada or something.
My mother had a Dodge Dart.
But no, he's a big.
You remember the push button transmissions?
Hey, do you remember the high beams on the floor with your foot?
Oh yes.
And you click, it would go.
Oh yeah. And now we're talking electric.
Yes, we are.
So we're going to build an electric dealership.
Oh?
Yeah, pretty much right across the street. It's going to be called Richard Bazzy's Electric Avenue.
Wow. Right down. Yeah. You could actually build one on Electric Avenue down by the Wolverina if you really wanted to.
Wait, where's Electric Avenue?
There's an Electric Avenue. You didn't know this?
No.
Like down in Rankin. Yeah.
No, really? Hey, I could go over with the senator.
I would keep it where it is in Wexford. But yes, an all electric. Now you have to make the Z's have on Bazzy have electric lightning bolts. Yes.
Yeah.
Were you already on to that?
Yes.
I wanted to take claim for that. Somebody else had that idea?
Yeah, me.
This is why we get along so well, Richard.
Well, it's like Dumb and Dumber. You mean I have a chance with you?
I'm dying. Oh, all electric. Count me in.
I know. Isn't that great? Have you driven one yet?
I have. I actually have driven one. I liked it.
Did you drive our Mach-E?
I did not drive the Mach-E. I got in the truck though.
Well, tell Chelsea to set you up. We're telling her now with the Mach-E ride. Use it for the weekend. Oh, you'll flip. It's unbelievable.
Fantastic. Yeah, I drove. The truck was out, and I jumped in that for a couple minutes, and that was something. And I did see the reveal of the truck at the auto show last year, and that was.
Just the Mach-E GT will blow you away.
Also, maybe get me in trouble, but there's that.
That's okay. Just stay on the same road that Antonio Brown was on when he got his ticket. Hey, whoa! We can't go anywhere without that. What happened to him? I never saw a resolution.
He's still holed up.
No.
Yeah, he has a gigantic house. He has all the land. He's got all the food. I guess he's just not leaving his house, and they don't have a warrant to go in and get him. They're not going to knock down his door. They're just waiting him out till they see him in public. Yes, he's been in his house 6 days.
Oh my heavens!
Yeah.
But what happens with his wife or girlfriend, whoever filed it? They don't have the power to serve that.
Well, if he doesn't answer the door,
man, it's just so weird. It's so weird.
I can't tell if it's sad, if it's bizarre, if it's I don't know what it is. It's just
what makes it sad is the kids. So that's where it turns sad for me, that they would see that the kids said, "Dad, you're scaring me."
I also do think there's a real mental health quotient to this.
Well, I do too, which is also what makes it sad.
Yeah.
But then the anger comes into, it's sad, but it doesn't give you the right to abuse people. It doesn't. And honestly, if he'd reach out to me, I'd help him in a heartbeat. I would help him.
He's lived 2 lives. He's not you hear that term and it's kind of like cliched or whatever. He's not the same person. There's 2 different people he's been in his life.
So, when he was, I don't remember, was it Western Michigan he came from?
Yes. No, Central Michigan.
Central Michigan. So he comes Central Michigan. After he was drafted, somebody called me, a Ford dealer called me from Michigan and said, I want to introduce you to Antonio Brown. He's going to be a huge star. He's a humble, wonderful young man. You will love him. Just, give him a truck to drive. He'll be happy. We did that. And he was humble. He was a wonderful young man. I tell the story that made me so proud when he and my son played 2-on-2. Him and my son were on the same team at the Oxford club, and they were beating everybody. And my son was so proud. And, and AB came out to my car and said, are you Mr. Bazzy? Yeah. Wow. Let me tell you about your son. He's so great. He said this. And I'm going to tell you, I swelled with pride. My son swelled with pride. And that's the Antonio Brown I choose to remember. Unfortunately, it's not who he is showing or presenting right now. I would help him in a heartbeat. If he reached out to me, I think I know how to help him, and I would love to help him.
Yeah, it's just a crazy state of affairs. All right, Baltimore this week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're going to beat them. One more thing. I apologize.
Yeah, no. Why are you apologizing?
Well, I want to say a prayer for Bert Lawton. Do you know is his child okay?
Yeah, I don't. There's very hazy particulars, but yeah, definitely.
Well,
definitely stay in his corner.
Yeah, please, and wish him all the best and Godspeed.
Absolutely. All right, till next week, Richard. You're the best, and we will talk.
Okay. Thanks, Colin.
We'll see.